Mesopotamia, the land between the rivers Tigris and Euphrates, is often called the cradle of civilization. It was here, in the fertile and strategic expanses of southern and central Iraq, that humanity first learned to cultivate crops, build cities, and record its stories on clay tablets. By the time Babylon emerged around 1894 BC, the region was already teeming with city-states vying for dominance. Uruk, Isin, and Larsa had traded blows across the centuries. But Babylon, at first glance, seemed unremarkable, just another settlement on the plains of Akkad. Few could have predicted the meteoric rise of this little city on the banks of the Euphrates. Our story begins in the shadow of warfare, political chaos, and shifting borders. Mesopotamia of the early 2nd millennium BC was a fiercely competitive world. City-states were locked in a constant battle for control over trade routes, farmland, and resources. It was in this turbulent context that an Amorite chieftain by the name of Sumulael rose to prominence. His people, newcomers to Mesopotamia, had settled in and around Babylon, and Sumulael's leadership marked the beginning of Babylon's ascent. Around 1894 BC, Sumulael fortified the city, establishing its independence and declaring himself its first king. But Babylon's early years were humble. At the time of its founding, it was overshadowed by older and more established powers such as Isin and Larsa to the south. To survive and grow, Babylon relied on cunning diplomacy, opportunistic alliances, and military resilience. Sumulael focused on securing Babylon's autonomy, repelling threats from neighboring states, and fostering trade routes that connected the city to wealthier regions. His reign laid the groundwork for what Babylon would one day become, a city of unrivaled importance. It was with the arrival of Hammurabi, Babylon's 6th king in 1792 BC, that the city truly transformed. Hammurabi inherited a kingdom still finding its foothold in the chaotic Mesopotamian landscape, but he would soon turn Babylon into the preeminent power in the region. At the start of his reign, Babylon's territory was modest, a compact dominion centered on the city itself and a handful of surrounding villages. However, Hammurabi was patient. Rather than throwing his city into immediate conflict, he focused on strengthening its infrastructure. He reinforced Babylon's walls, improved irrigation systems, and cultivated economic prosperity by fostering trade and agriculture. Hammurabi's strategic vision laid the foundation for Babylon's transformation into a dominant power. But Hammurabi was more than a builder. He was a tactician, both in diplomacy and war. His mastery of Mesopotamian politics was evident during his alliances with nearby states. He initially worked with Isin, Larsa, and other regional powers, navigating the network of treaties and rivalries that defined the region. Then, in a series of brilliant moves, Hammurabi turned against his former allies, striking while they were weakened or distracted by other conflicts. These actions cemented his legacy as a master tactician, ensuring Babylon's supremacy in the region. The defining military campaign of Hammurabi's reign came in 1763 BC, when he defeated Rim-Sin, the ruler of Larsa and one of the most powerful kings of the time. Rim-Sin had long dominated southern Mesopotamia, but Hammurabi's forces overran Larsa, absorbing its territory and wealth into Babylon's growing empire. This victory was pivotal. It expanded Babylon's reach far beyond its original borders, solidifying it as the most dominant power in the region. But Hammurabi's legacy extends far beyond the battlefield. He is best remembered for his legal reforms and his monumental code of laws, immortalized on a towering stele of black basalt. The Code of Hammurabi stands as one of the earliest and most comprehensive legal documents in human history. Combining strict justice with a flair for organization, the code addressed issues ranging from property rights to trade disputes, marriage, theft, and even the roles of slaves and laborers. The principles enshrined in the code emphasized order and hierarchy, with punishments often fitting the crime under the famous dictum, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Yet the Code of Hammurabi was more than a legal framework. It was a reflection of Babylon's newfound power. The stela carried not only the laws, but also Hammurabi's image, depicted receiving divine authority from the sun god Shamash. It was a statement to the people of Babylon and to the world at large. The king was a servant of the gods, his laws backed by the divine order of the universe. Under Hammurabi, Babylon grew into a city of wonders. Temples like the towering ziggurat Esagila honored the gods while symbolizing the prosperity of the city. Markets bustled with goods from across Mesopotamia, from textiles and grain to lapis lazuli and spices. Babylon's population swelled, its streets bustling with merchants, scribes, priests, and farmers. The fertility of its land combined with Hammurabi's infrastructure projects ensured that Babylon remained a beacon of stability and wealth. As Hammurabi's reign came to an end, Babylon sat at the pinnacle of power. It was no longer just another city-state, it was the heart of an empire. But as history often reminds us, even the mightiest empires are vulnerable to time and change. After Hammurabi's death, Babylon faced periods of decline, challenges from outside powers, and shifts in leadership that would eventually shape its trajectory across history. Yet Babylon's role in the ancient world was far from over. Over the centuries, the city would rise and fall several more times, enduring invasions from the Kassites and later becoming the jewel of the Neo-Babylonian Empire under Nebuchadnezzar II. By the time famed writers like Herodotus penned their descriptions of Babylon, the city had attained a mythical status, known for its hanging gardens, a wonder that drew visitors and inspired legends. Babylon's story, however, cannot be confined to its bricks or its kings. It is a tale of human ingenuity, ambition, and the enduring desire for order and prosperity amidst chaos. Though the physical ruins of Babylon stand as a testament to the passage of time, its spirit lives on in the chronicles of history. It reminds us of the resilience of human civilization, the power of leadership, and the enduring influence of ideas that transcend their era. In the heart of Mesopotamia, where rivers once gave life to empires, Babylon, the city of kings and laws, remains immortal.
Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.